Hi, everyone. Welcome to Siffany's
Hi.
Walk with Grace. Today's episode, we're doing a Mother's Day special. So I'm going to let Grace lead the brigade today.
Hi there. I've been thinking about, what we would talk about on this Mother's Day special. It's been what would you say, weird, difficult, sometimes good, sometimes bad these last couple weeks. So I think this will kind of lead into maybe the theme that I'm feeling for Mother's Day, and that is sometimes, oftentimes, both kinds of things are happening, the good and the bad. And are we able to kind of see, be aware, in particular, hold space for all of it? Can we hold space for all of it, the good and the bad? I have some wonderful things happening in my life. I have some pretty sad things happening with some really close loved ones of mine. Can I hold space for both of those? I think we can. If you're in a really bad space and you can't bring yourself to find the good, that's okay too. It is what it is. We are where we are. What's happening in your life is what's happening in your life. And that, for me, that's what grace is. Grace is being okay with all of it, understanding there's a reason for it, whether we understand it or not, but that we're going to have faith in life continuing on, even as it seems to be crashing and burning in one area. Give it time, new things will come out of that.
Yeah,
So, so how are you doing, Siffany?
I'm exhausted today, but I don't know. It's been a tough couple of weeks, but I'm here.
It has, yeah. Uh,
Fighting with this light that makes me look like I just got this like giant glowing spot on my head.
oh, trying to
And
fix
I'm
the
like,
lighting.
why? No, it doesn't matter what angle, but it's the quietest room in the house. So I guess I'm
Gotcha.
just, gonna glow.
Gonna glow. There you go, glow. Um, um, Mother's Day. What are we celebrating? I I kind of looked up what does it mean to be a mother? What are the mothering energies? I'd like to talk about that for a second or two.
Yeah,
They're
sure.
they're nurturing energies. They're supportive energies. They're calming energies, and they're energies of patience. And I'm sure, we'll all come up with other ideas as well. And you might have some that come off the top of your head, but that was the only one I looked at and I kind of liked it. um, it feels very much like me. I feel like I carry a lot of kind of that mothering tendency. It's kind of part and parcel of who and what I am. But
I
I
can vouch for this. I have a lot of friends that throughout the years have called her mama just
yeah.
because she made him feel comfortable.
Yep. And I had a daycare for 15 years, loved every minute of it, loved all the kids that were in my care. So yeah, it's kind of my thing. Uh, but that was one thing that I was thinking this morning as I was trying to decide what we might talk about is especially I have a hard time with marking one day in my calendar and saying, okay, I'm going to celebrate moms today. I like the idea of taking that kind of stuff with you all the time. So when I'm with you girls, I feel blessed. I take it with me. It's always with me. So it's a little difficult for me to just kind of designate a date in the calendar. But as I was thinking and kind of looking at what those mothering energies are, those are powerful energies, energies that you can hold on to, bring into yourself, look around in your world because it's everywhere. That's my dog. Did you just hear that?
Was that Shadow?
He's howling. He's napping.
He's
Uh,
asleep right now? That was asleep. Oh, wow. Must be one
yeah,
heck of a dream.
he's been doing that lately. He dreams and he howls in his dreams. But um, so I don't know. That kind of made me feel good to think of just how much mothering energy is out there. I mean, it exudes everything. It's the thing to me that holds it all together and connects everything, right?
I mean,
So,
yeah, if you think about it, like the mothering energy, that's going to be the people that have the more nurturing, more compassionate,
mm-hmm.
mentalities. Like even people that aren't moms can still have that nature, and
Yes.
those are the ones that bring a lot of peace to the world.
Yeah.
Not that others don't, but
Yep. Yep. Just that, just hone in on that mothering energy and you'll find it everywhere. We find it in nature, we find it in each other, we find it's a beautiful vibe.
it is, and I
So
mean it's comforting too.
comforting, beautiful word.
That's always one that stood out for me for Mother's Day is comfort.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
My
I
man will
like
be
that a
sitting
lot.
right next to me, and I'll be like, "Oh, my mama."
So, and does he hold you and give you some of that comfort, I hope?
He tries. He's not so in tune with the emotional side of things. So
Yeah.
I only get a limited window, and then he's like, "All right, buck up." I mean, he's nicer than
Gotcha.
that, but that's the point.
Yeah. Gotcha.
He's like,
But you know
"Okay, you've
what?
cried now. You got this. Like,
You got
watch
this.
TV or something."
Yeah.
Whereas the
Yeah.
mothering energy will just let you cry whether it takes 2 minutes or 2 hours, and it
Or
doesn't
two
matter.
hours. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's actually a beautiful um leeway into an exercise I would like to give those who, well, anybody really, because we all need it. But in particular, those that do have a difficult time at Mother's Day. Mother's Day is a very sad time for many people for many reasons. The mom who's lost their child, the child who's lost their mom. I'm going to tear up just even talking about it.
Then you've also got the ones that just don't want anything to do with them for whatever reason. Um,
Right? Maybe a lot of trauma around their mother figure. Um, the
or
moms who,
sometimes disappointment in the child too, depending.
sure, I mean, you can look at it however, yes, yes, there can be a lot of deep-seated pain there. And I would like to take this opportunity to share when I feel like, at least for me, I want to heal. I want to be whole. I want to feel whole. I want to be whole. I think that's something we're all trying to gain in life, knowingly or unknowingly, is to be whole. I would venture to say one of our biggest blocks to being whole is not having the proper nurturing when we're little. And I don't mean that in terms of hurting anybody or saying anybody. I'm not talking about what's the best way to be a parent and how to be the best mom on the planet. We are all imperfect in that regard, are we not?
We're all
Don't we
perfect,
talk?
period.
Yes. We go ahead. What?
Oh, just not just in that regard. We're all just simply imperfect. I mean, we're I like the term perfectly imperfect.
I do
I've
too.
always loved that term.
I do too. So, yes, that perfectly imperfect. Most mothers have the best intentions. I know I did, but mistakes along the way, misunderstandings along the way. Um,
I think every mother hits a point of regret at some point too.
yes, regret. Lots
Like
and
that's
lots and
something
lots.
that as a mom, I don't think anybody cannot feel some kind of regret at some point. Like there's just so many
Sure,
instances. I mean, and that can weigh on you, especially if
it can.
you don't have that closeness.
Absolutely.
Mother's Day very painful because then you're feeling guilt on top of not having that closeness that you're wanting.
Yeah. Yep. And then what does guilt do? It weighs us down. It makes then it compounds the issue because then oftentimes we'll do something to try to make up for the guilt only to find that that just brings about more negativity and difficult things because now because guilt is the underlying we're gonna we're gonna be too harsh, too hard, or maybe as I often do shut down. um and that's not good either, right? So we're just compounding more guilt on top of more guilt on top of more guilt because now it's why did I do that? Why didn't I do that? How come I this? Why do I keep doing the things that I'm trying not to do?
See, this
Oftentimes
is why we
guilt
need grace. My answer would have been like, it festers and rots, and then all of a sudden it's toxic everywhere.
is toxic everywhere.
You have a way more scientific definition of the meaning of guilt. That
uh,
was the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, well, it festers and it rots.
festers and it rots. Yeah. But that's the cool thing about our channel. I think we need both of those things, right? I love your creative way of answering. Yeah.
And I think it matters because there are the creative mind and the logical mind. And
Hmm.
so I'm
Yeah.
definitely more on the creative mind. My logic, I'm not the one you want.
Yeah.
You'll ask me, hey, do you think this is a great idea? Oh, yeah, definitely. And then it's going to backfire. But you cannot come to me and be mad because, well, here's your warning. But I found that kind of unique. I was like, so it went totally same place, but completely different routes.
Different routes and a different, yeah. Yeah. So,
Sorry, I'm fidgeting so much. I messed my arm. I threw my shoulder out a couple weeks ago. My arm is really pissed off today, so I
uh-oh.
apologize to the viewers if you're like, "What is she doing?" Like, sit still. It's just really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I
And I'm
don't
doing
know if
my
I.
best to sit still because I have my computer on my knees. So I keep getting called out for that. So sorry. uh, okay. So let's let's take a deep breath. So let's breathe in, pause, breathe out. Breathe in, pause, breathe out. Last one, real quick. Breathe in, pause, breathe out. I need to calm myself. That's why I did that. Okay. How to be your own mother. Think about these energies we've just talked about, right? The comforting, the nurturing, the supportive. You were
Bottomless
talking
love or endless love. Sorry.
unconditional
Yeah,
love.
that.
Yep. Yep. Grace and compassion. Above all else, compassion. Okay.
Mhm.
Think about can you provide for yourself that which you are seeking outside yourself. So we're constantly kind of looking for that mothering vibe outside of ourselves. So you lean into your partner and ask for a hug. You're like, I just want my mommy. And maybe he hugs you back. Maybe he gives you the comfort. Maybe he gives you the comfort for not as long as you would like, but he tried. But so this principle, and that's great when it happens, right? We need our outside, we need our people and our surroundings to kind of give us that love and nurturing. There's nothing wrong with that. But when we're doing some deep kind of healing, what needs to be healed is that nurturance. Yes, yes, that nurturance, compassion for ourselves. Because when we feel guilty and we can't let go of that guilt, what are we doing? We're judging. Bad
Yep.
kid. You know, what a bad, how dare you? You shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't that, you shouldn't this, you shouldn't, whatever, you should be this, you should be that. And we're just putting ourselves down, putting ourselves down, putting ourselves down. Is that a good mom? Would a good mom do that with, I mean, here's their child. You just find your child marking, marking on the wall. So now you have this, all this ink on your wall, and you're just, the first thing you want to say is, oh my gosh, what did you do? Pause for a second. What he really did? He thought he was creating some beautiful work of art. He's just doing his thing, right? What would a compassionate mother do?
Right.
A compassionate mother might say something along the lines of, wow, look what you did. Oh my gosh. And then you share with that child, you know what?
Maybe
I
next
love
time we
this.
try the paper.
Yeah, next time let's try the paper. You've honored the child for his creativity. A compassionate mother understands multiple things are happening here. So the child is, he's just in his own little world creating. But mom also knows we need to set a boundary.
Right.
We need to
You can respect
redirect
the creativity. You can show them that you appreciate what they're trying to do and still empower them while teaching them the right direction at the same time.
the right direction. And guess what? You've you haven't shamed the child. We do a lot of shaming of children, and I think that's one of the most detrimental things we can do, because when we shame a child, we're basically telling a child, what are we saying to that child? There are pieces and parts of you that are not okay. As opposed to, didn't we just talk about being perfectly imperfect? So we're here to learn, but we learn best by modeling a behavior, by what we just
Positivity
positivity,
and good feedback.
redirecting. Yes. So there's positive ways of doing it without negating pieces and parts of a child. So I'm really against shaming for that reason, because then we're going to grow up and what we learn how to shame ourselves, right? I
Mm.
shouldn't this, I shouldn't that, and that's where a lot of that guilt comes from. So,
And
um,
actually, I I just started back up with a counselor because I just got a lot going on. And once in a
mhm,
while, we all just need somebody to talk to, right? Well, she told me, she's like, it kind of seems like you know your value, but you also feel like you hold no value. And I was like, yeah, and I really don't understand why. Like, this is a huge
mhm,
contradiction that I've been trying to figure out for years, right? And she was like, well, let me ask you something. She's like, how often in the past were you ridiculed for being yourself?
mhm.
Like throughout history, just looking back, take a minute and think about it. And I was like, oh my. And
Yeah.
most of it wasn't necessarily you either. A lot of it was external forces. But like,
Yeah.
it actually you were always really good about accepting everybody for who they are. But so a lot of it was external stuff. Like, but there was so much of it that I was like, holy crap. Like, what did
Mhm.
you just help me figure out that I've been trying to do for 20 years? Now, mind you, I've only seen this woman like two or three times now. Okay. She's already, yeah. So I was like, okay, there might be kind of a lot. And
Yeah.
she was like, okay, so let me ask you
Hmm.
this. All these things that you feel like are wrong with you, are these their thoughts or yours?
Ooh.
I was like, uh, well, there was people that thought it was wrong of me for being a metalhead because I like rock music. People that thought it was wrong of me for feeling comfortable around the dead and not fascinated by it by means of like, ooh, I'm gonna go like poke the dead thing in the street, but I'm not the kind that will be like, oh God, either. I'm able to be
Hmm.
like, oh, poor creature, rest in peace, and just move on. And so, like, all these things that are natural qualities about me that were a problem. And I was like, here's She's like, so work on that. She's like, work on forming your own view. And now that you're aware of that, trash all that. That don't matter.
Yeah. That's
And
awesome. I love.
I'm about to be 32, you guys. So Grace has a very good point. And like I said, that wasn't even her doing the shaming. Like, but it takes such a heavy toll. And
Takes
I
a
was
heavy
an
toll.
outcast. I was a fat kid in high school. I did not know what hairstyles look good with my facial structure. I mean, I definitely made myself a target by accident. Um, So I had a lot of problems in that realm. But 32 years old in 2 months, just figured it out. And I know you've been trying to tell it to me for a while too, but I think it was a difference in wording. Like it was how she worded it that like made it click right. I
Hmm.
don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
It felt like a right time to throw that in there. Like, and there's no shame
Yeah.
in getting counseling either, guys. Like, not everybody has people they can just vent to all the time. Like, and that, I mean, sometimes you'd be dumbfounded at what the. I never thought that by session three I'd be solving a problem that's been there for over half my life. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now it's just going to take practice, 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 Siffany, because we think
Yeah.
we've got it, and we're feeling better and we're feeling more confident and we're letting it go when we're kind of until the next time it smacks you upside the head. So
Yeah.
it,
And she said, she was like, don't expect results right away. She's like, you're retraining a a false
long,
belief that's been there for a long time.
yes, yes, yes. I'm really glad that you're in therapy, and shout out to therapy. If you need it, you need it. I've been in therapy. I've been in therapy even after I was a therapist. It it definitely has its place. You were saying I had shared with you something along the same lines many, many, many times, and you didn't, for whatever reason, it clicked this last time. I love that. We never know when we're going to finally get whatever it is that we need to get.
Well, and
Just
then
another,
I
oh,
honestly think in this case, it was one of those like the result of the mini stroke where like my brain just doesn't, unless it's worded just right, like my brain can't comprehend it.
comprehend it. Yeah.
Yeah, like it
Yeah.
was more about the wording itself as opposed to the realization, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. But
Yep.
that's not to say that I haven't had times like that in the past. So,
Yeah. Yep. And just another reason to be gentle with each other, because that's kind of what life is
oh yeah.
getting the realizations when we're ready for them, and when it's time. So but so much of what we're dealing with is our beliefs. And and until we're adult, or until we're of the age in which we're able to really start thinking for ourselves, we're pretty programmed. If you think about it, we pick up on the beliefs of our society. the family that we're growing up in, our communities. And somewhere along the line, we start to realize, or now's your opportunity to realize, how much of your subconscious is programmed. And the more you're able to understand that and think about that, and you can start to kind of look at your own processes a little differently. So your therapist is saying, where'd you get that belief from? And you're able to, oh, I see how, kind of society was telling me these things, telling me I'm to this or to that, or not enough this, or, whatever the case is for everybody individually. And so we kind of start to take that on, or we rebel against it, whichever. But regardless, get into your beliefs. Ask yourself, what do I believe that? Okay, I see how that was taught to me. I see how, that was kind of the response I had when I was little. Do I still believe that? So how are you feeling today?
I've been feeling a lot better and a lot lighter since that appointment, since Monday.
Awesome. 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 So, all right.
Not to say that I haven't had a moment where I was like, why am I doing this? What's my problem? And then I was like, wait,
Wait.
only
Pause.
human. There is no problem.
That's right.
We all make mistakes.
We all make mistakes. Forgive yourself and commit to a changed behavior, right?
Yep. And sometimes you're going to slip and sometimes you're going to have to go back and retry. And it is what it is. But again, you're retraining how many years worth of the same belief. I mean, you can't train a dog a new command to sit when his whole life this has been the command. You can't change it to this and expect him to know what is going on. I mean, he's going to have to get used to it. You're going to have to show him like, hey, come on down, note down, come on, like, help him kind of. And once in a while you might have that person that is like, hey, remember what you told me about that conversation with your therapist? Do you think that's what's going on here? Just like you would show a dog, hey, come on, lay down and help him get the position or whatever.
Yeah, but
so
sure.
I kind of see it like that. I mean, you can train a puppy way quicker than you can train an old dog, right? Like that phrase comes around for a reason. You can't train an old dog new tricks. Thing is, you can if you're willing to be patient. I firmly believe in that. You can totally teach an old dog new tricks if you are willing to be patient. Yeah. And that's what you need to give to yourself. Because I mean, you might be young, you might not be, but at the end of the day, we live way longer lives than dogs do. And if you think about how long it takes to train a dog, then add all these extra years.
Yes.
Patient with yourselves.
Patience. I love it.
Mad at yourself if you screw up. No, it's probably going to happen and just accept it from the beginning.
Yep. Agreed.